Howdy and welcome. Today we're going to be introducing the next concept for our RPG game. We're going to show how to create a pickup item or something that you can pick up similar to how we've done before, but we're going to be using the built-in systems and utilizing the entities present. So the easiest thing that you can do is go to, again, anytime that you're working within an existing system, find something that already works and see how you want to modify that. Our existing item that we can pick up while we're running over, or it refers to as a collectible. We have a coin. The coin serves as a collectible. The heart serves as a collectible. I built the heart earlier, but I want to give another example of being able to pick up, in this case, a temporary speed boost. Whenever you go over it, you move a little faster. After some time, it goes away. So let's go ahead and just duplicate the heart. Right click, duplicate the heart object, does everything that we needed to do, but we're going to do a few modifications. I'm going to call this speed boost object. First off, we need to change the sprite. What do I want this item to be? I'm not that creative. I'm going to go down to my sprites, and I'm just going to create a new sprite, create sprite. There we go, sprite. And here, S, following the naming convention of the built-in system, and I'm going to call this speed boost. What is my image going to be? It's going to be fairly small. I'm going to shrink this down to probably 16 by 16. Apply, and then make sure this has it centered near the bottom. Actually, I can just make it bottom center. Go ahead and edit this. What is my item going to be? What would be an appropriate speed boost? I'm pulling this straight from memory. What does a Pop-Tart container look like? I'm going to attempt to draw the Pop-Tart container. This is probably going to look horrible. Okay, so there's the silvery frame. This is the Pop-Tart that's outside of it. And then we're going to have, what is it, purple. I'm sure there's some purple Pop-Tart out there. There we go. This is our purple Pop-Tart. Let's see if I can get a shinier silver color for the filling. There we go. That is the foil around a Pop-Tart, and let me give it some frilled edge. There we go. That is our Pop-Tart. This is our speed boost. We're gonna grab it, we're gonna pick it up, we're gonna eat it, it'll speed us up. Very simple concept. Let me make sure. In this case, I want the bottom to actually be touching the bottom because we have a shadow effect in place. If we look at the other sprites that also do similar things, we see let's look at the coin. The coin touches the bottom, it has a shadow. The heart, no, that's health. Heart does not touch the bottom, but its origin point is at the bottom of the heart. I want my origin point at the bottom, in my case, of the speed boost, S. Speed boost. And so just to keep it matched up, I put it at the bottom there. So now that we have my quick, simple sprite built, let's go ahead and return to our code. So I duplicated the heart, and somewhere we've got our object for speed boost. Inside here, update the sprites to now be our speed boost sprite, our Pop-Tart. There we go. Now, most of the code is already inherited from our collectibles function that serves as the basis for all our stuff. What we need to change is actually the variable definitions. That is what makes this one unique. And does it have a shadow? Yes. We throw those values in, those are already built in. But what do we do whenever we collect this item? We're not going to call the collect health or any of the other functions that already exist. We need to instead collect or call a script that does something new. So where are these scripts located? If we scroll down to our scripts portion, we can find in here are collect functions. In the collect functions, built in are collect coins and collect ammo. I added in collect health on my own. We're going to make a new function, a function for collect. And this time it's going to be speed boost. Here, what we receive is going to be just the information for our boost. It doesn't matter what comes in. We actually have no arguments. Or actually, I will have the length for our boost because I want to allow for some people, depending on what they want to do with picking up something, to have it supported in this way. In this case, this is going to be how long the boost is going to last, because maybe we'll have different tiers of speed boosts. And so I need to modify something. My goal is to modify the player's speed. I want the player to go a little faster. Well, how do I update the player speed? Let's go check how the player code looks like. If we look at the player and in their create function, there is a variable called speed walk. That tells us how fast the player goes. So in my collect speed boost, I'm going to reference the player. Let me increase the size. Oh, no, wrong button. I'm going to reference player dot and then walk speed. But rather than it being set to 1.5, which is its current value, I want to double the speed. So the shortcut for that is times equals underscore length. So increases the speed by 2. That's the shortcut. That will double it. Then how long do we want the screen to shake? That is where we can add in screen shake as our method. Screen shake. How long do we, or how crazy of a shake will it be? I want it to be a moderate shake, so maybe just 5. But how long do I want this to last? That is where we have length. We're gonna pass length in as the duration for our shaking. We double the speed for some amount of length, and then that's that. That is what we do in the collect speed portion. But since I want this to stop, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my code for our object, our Pop-Tart. And in this case, whenever it gets called, let's see, that gets inherited. The destroy is whenever it gets picked up. Let's see, draw instep. Here, it references to the player and other operations. And this is a portion where it actually figures out if it's going to call in a specific script and do a certain operation. Here, I want to execute whatever script I'm supposed to be executing, but I'm going to have to do some modifications to have the timer set the speed back to our normal setup. So I'm going to add a timer here for our alarm 0, and this is reset speed. And then I'll reference player dot walk speed or speed walk, and I want it to be divide equals by 2. This will just half it, because again, whenever they take the Pop-Tart, they double their speed. This will divide it, half it, bring it back to its original value. But just in case we don't trust it or you're going to modify it later, we return it to whatever originally was, which was 1.5. But again, you may change these values, which is why I'm just going to half the speed. Divide equals 2, since I double it when it gets picked up. But we need to make sure we trigger that, and that can be done over in our create step. We're going to have to, let me shrink this portion down. When this portion of code is called, we need to pull in and reference that timer. So we want to inherit this event, but also modify it. And so this is where it gets a little complicated. I'm going to Control C to copy this portion. And this is our end step. And we want to override it. Almost all of it is going to be kept the same, except for the fact that we changed one element. Inside here, right before we destroy it, we're going to have alarm 0 be equal to our length. The length that gets called, however, is referenced here, the collect script arguments, because that tells our other program how many frames we want this to last. I want this to have a speed boost for, let's say, 10 seconds. The game is running at 30 or 60 frames per second. I forget off the top of my head. And so let's assume it is 30 frames per second, meaning for 10 seconds, we have 300 frames. And so this needs to be that variable, the collect script argument. And so right before it destroys itself, it'll have that timer running in the background, so that way it'll keep track of what needs to be done to set it back to 0. Let's go ahead and, nope. While that created it, we still need to actually modify the other portions of our program. The collectible now exists, but nothing is using the collectible. The easiest thing that we can do is inside the plants, in our create program, this is where we can list out everything that can be picked up. I can specify we can now have a speed boost as one of our pickups, and then comma. And so inside here, these are all the items that can be picked up. Again, the more items that you put in here, the less likely you are to see any of them as it slowly decreases its share. If we only had these 2 items, then you have a 50% chance to get a bomb or a 50% chance to get a coin. But since we have all of this, we have 6 out of 9 opportunities to get something, but there's a third of the chance to just receive nothing. Now we can pick up a speed boost. And let's give this a try. I have a feeling that I need to modify something. But how did this portion break? Let's look at our object speed boost in here. Whenever it calls the collect, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. I was calling the wrong function. It was still collecting its health. So actually I just increased its health by 300, which just puts it to full. I didn't actually call the function that does the new stuff. So let's close up plant. We know it's in there. Our script below of collectible functions. Length is how many frames that we're doing this. And so it's collect speed boost is the function we need to call. So if we head back over to our object for speed boost in the variables down below, which function do we call? We call the collect speed boost function. That now gives us the correct function call, so we should be operational. Though I don't know until I test it, but I'm fairly confident it will not work. One of the modifications I did in the speed boost code was rather than, I had the alarm called in here, but we ran into an issue. Whenever I destroy this, the alarm is destroyed with it. So we'll actually just keep speeding up without it ever stopping the time. What we need to instead do is in our player have that timer fire. So I'm going to copy this alarm code and open up the player to have that included in there. So in our player, we're going to add this alarm 0. This just halves the speed. In our speed boost, we no longer need this alarm. Delete. event. And in our in step, we actually don't need this either. I'm going to return this to delete event. Back to its inherited format where nothing was changed. That is why we have the collectible script. Our script up above can specify we increase the player's speed by 2, but we can actually just say with object player, I'm going to increase their walking speed by 2, and I'm going to trigger the timer. Alarm 0 for our player is now set to our length. That way it's all handled within this one function. And now that that is saved and functional, assuming I had everything written correctly, we will now see the Pop-Tarts as we confirmed before, but we'll also be able to do something other than max out our health. Okay, in the river, I'm here. I go into this room, I'm still functional. Found the Pop-Tart, I pick it up, there we go. That's beautiful. And it settles down. So that's what happens. Here's a Pop-Tart, I'm gonna pick it up. Whenever I pick up the Pop-Tart, it doubles my speed and it shakes the screen. And then it slowly dies off and our speed returns back to normal. Though I'm curious, I wonder if it'll break if I pick up the Pop-Tart and go to a different room. Let's see. No, it was able to keep it. Okay, so I was just testing that to see if that was an opportunity. But that is how you can implement something like a speed boost and to shake the screen violently while it goes through. And so again, our whole process for this, we took an existing piece of code, the heart object. We knew that worked. We knew it does everything it's supposed to do. We duplicate it and put it in as a speed boost. We actually did not have to modify anything within its code. We just had to create a new, or modify some of the variables. We had to create a new function or new script called collect speed boost and pass in the argument. In this case, I wanted it to work for 10 seconds. Then in our collect script or collection functions here, I have created the new collect speed boost. I specify the length, which is the argument we get in that case 300. And then I specify to the player, double your speed and have a new alarm that goes for this many frames. And then it shakes for that many frames. If we go back up to the player code, our player object, we just added one new item, the alarm that gets triggered to half the speed once the alarm is up. And so that's all we have for this video. If you have any questions or need anything from me, just let me know in class. Otherwise, everyone have a good one, and I'll see y'all next time.